Hi everyone, welcome to Simproved. Today I've got something special for you. It's a unique starter home that's perfect for jumping straight into your Sims game. It's a little different from the usual suburban style homes. I went for something more creative and detailed to make your starting experience extra fun. As you can see, it's a windmill, and in this video I show you how I build it and share some tips along the way. Let's get started. So I started on an empty lot, and with the tool mod, which is a mod that allows me to rotate objects, make them bigger or smaller, and just have a little bit more free reign how to arrange these objects, I could create the windmill blades or windmill sails. I've heard that people call it that way. And by that, I basically used screens from the base game. These are little screens that you can use to divide rooms, for example. And I thought these are the perfect main object to use for my windmill sails. I stacked them on top of another and then basically with tool mod rotated them so that they lie on the floor. Then later on I used some wood planks to make the whole frame of the blade. And once I was done with that and arranging this cost me a lot of time. I basically copy and pasted the blade and made a little X shape. The good thing about the tool mod is that I can later use all of these objects and upload them into a room on my library. And also I've put these windmill sails in the gallery for you, so you can download them yourself and create your own little windmill. And you basically don't even need to use the tool mod for this. This works without any mods for you. Just go to the gallery and place my windmill sails, and then you have the sails here as well. They won't, of course, rotate. These are static because they're just objects, but it makes your build definitely look special. And I am absolutely happy that I got a little one-on-one with Sadie Sims, who is, in my opinion, the best tool mod user in the Sims 4 community right now. After I was done with the windmill sails and they were up on my library and gallery, I started to go on a very big lot because we have to arrange these blades somehow, and I was pretty sure that I need lots and lots of space to feel free to later on attach them. So I started with the base of the windmill, which is basically an octagonal room above another octagonal room and an octagonal balcony all around. And then later I used the next two upper floors. We can only have 4 floors in The Sims 4. That's the maximum to build up to. I basically created this sort of nice, let's just call it a mushroom-shaped roof. This was, of course, inspired by Dutch windmills. I just Googled some of them and I was like, yeah, that's kind of fantasy and medieval looking. And this is basically what I wanted to recreate a little bit here in The Sims 4. Of course, we have to look after not using so many walls, because walls also go hand in hand with wallpaper and rooms also go hand in hand, of course, with floor tiles. They all cost a lot of money, and for a starter home I basically had only very limited budget. I really wanted this to be a starter house for you so you can start your game right away. So this is not a very big windmill, but in the end I made it fit the windmill blades. And I could then later, after I was done with the structure of it, add the blades in, which is the room. And I placed the room to the side of the roof on top of it, sort of. You can see it in the video, of course. And then basically the main structure was done. So I uploaded that lot to my library so I can then choose a nice spot for a starter home. The lot shouldn't be very costly because your sim will only start with 20,000 simoleons, and it will have to be affordable for only one sim, and that includes also the lot cost, let's just say. And therefore I chose this lot in Windmill here. It's only 3,000 simoleons, so added with my already built lot with the windmill, I came down to only 5,000 simoleons in the end to work with. which is absolutely not a lot of money for full on furnishing, full on wallpaper, and everything else that you will then need to make your Sims survive in a starter house. I knew I needed a bed, I needed a whole kitchen, I needed a toilet that works, and maybe some entertainment. And of course, a little bit more, landscaping and stuff. So 5,000 simoleons was definitely not a lot because the blades were so costly. That whole room was very costly. But I made it work, and here's how I did it. First, of course, I needed to raise the whole windmill because it just made more sense that it would be up in the air to catch some wind, of course, to basically work. The whole idea of this was I wanted it to look a little bit old and rustic on the outside and exterior, but on the interior, it is fully renovated. I chose this whole idea because lots of the basic starting objects that are very, very cheap look a little bit modern. So I was maybe that sim that you start with bought this windmill and renovated it with all of the money they had left. And this is how, when you move your sim into it, you only have like 50 simoleons. But don't worry, it's very easy to get money in The Sims 4. Just let your sim walk around, catch some frogs, some crystals, dig up some minerals and stuff like that, and sell them in the inventory right away. And this will make it possible for you to survive the first 2 days, definitely. I really like that whole idea. So in the middle, I will put a beam that I found in debug and make it bigger. And this is basically the base of the windmill, so to speak. I'm not an engineer in that kind of way, so I have no idea how these poles are called, but the pole is still there. But the windmill doesn't work anymore. It's now a fully functional house, but renovated, so I could go with like a very minimalist Scandinavian sort of basic interior. And I think it looks very, very cute. It's very basic. It's a lot of beige and like lighter brown shades. But I think this is also very good because this basically fits all kinds of Sims. And in The Sims 4, it's so easy to change the color. So you can definitely feel free to experiment a little bit here to make it fit your sim and your personality style. I try to minimize the use of walls here. As I've said, wallpaper is of course at first glance very cheap, but if you have so many walls, they accumulate to a lot of costs. So I wanted to minimize the use of walls. I only used walls for the bathroom, for example, so that your sim doesn't get embarrassed if other sims are there visiting them because they don't want to go to the toilet and shower and etc. in front of other sims that are strangers to them. Of course, I understand. Then I went through the whole catalog and chose all of the more cheaper objects in The Sims 4. By the way, shout out to Sunny Simsy, a good friend of mine who told me about the debug bed from Eco Lifestyle. That's only 25 simoleons. I used it here. And later on, I will also decorate it a little bit more with debug objects. By the way, debug objects are in the game, but hidden. It's not in the build by catalog. You have to add in a little cheat for it. And these are objects that are in the background that you can see in the world and stuff. Or maybe Sims can make them through some sort of accomplishments through their career or create them via a maker and stuff like that. They are definitely usable. I've play tested this whole house and it works just fine. So downstairs we will have a little kitchen with a sink and a fridge. There's no microwave or a stove because the stove is very costly. And I personally always think it's fine to let them just eat fruit salad and yogurt and stuff like that in the first few days. There is a table for 4 Sims, even a TV, and hey, I even got a sofa and a little armchair in there. Upstairs you will have a bed and even a little desk area, so later on you can add a very much needed PC on there. I personally always like to work from home with my sim, therefore I have more control over it. And there are lots of careers that they can do from home. They can hack, I think, they can create, I don't know, financial stuff. It's really, really cool to make your sim work from home, in my opinion. And the PC is such a viable and very important sort of object, mostly the first thing that I add to my starter homes. I switched up a little bit of the wallpaper here, and I thought maybe they used a little bit of plaster on some of the walls to break up the whole room. The ceiling, for example, is not painted because that costs a lot of money, and I ran out of money pretty fast. But yeah, I created these white spaces sometimes, and I could use some debug paintings and wall stickers to make this a little bit more interesting. And also outside on the exterior, I only use debug objects. So these are plants that cost 0 simoleons, and they are not interactable. Basically, they're just for decoration, which plants are. I mean, that's super useful. And I wanted this to look really, really cute with lots of plants and flowers all around and some planters. And then later on, I still had a little bit to the left and wanted to fill it in. And I thought maybe it's really great for people if they can have a little bit of a garden patch. So I created a little bit of soil and painted it on the ground with the terrain paint, and then later on put some debug flowers on there. But then later, if you really want to grow stuff, I mean, there are lots of different sort of things that your sim can find seeds for, and they can plant them in the ground and let them grow and, I don't know, to sell the fruits and stuff like that. Do a little bit of gardening. I thought that you can later on delete these flowers so that you can put your seeds in there and have your own little garden patch that's working fine. So basically these are a little bit of placeholder flowers, see it like that. I personally always think these are super cute and fit the whole windmill idea of it. And yeah, basically the whole exterior is very lush and very green, which is just a wholesome little build, and I really, really liked how it looked like. And I also love the idea that you can, even for those who really liked the medieval fantasy sort of gameplay type, can of course revamp the whole interior. After I was done with the landscaping, I went back in and put more plants into the interior because there is a lot of space here that of course was still empty, and it looked a little bit not that cluttered, but I also didn't want it to clutter that much, of course, because of costs and because I wanted it to look like it's just freshly moved into, just like, oh my god, I ran out of money while renovating this old windmill. And this fit the whole idea that I used just lots and lots of plants, maybe that they, you know, found outside while doing the garden or stuff like that and brought inside. And that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching. This starter home is now available for free on the Sims 4 Gallery. Just search for Windmill Starter Home or #Simproved. I hope this video was helpful and maybe even inspired you to get creative in your own builds. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more Sims content, and let me know your thoughts and ideas in the comments down below. Enjoy the video tour of it now, and I see you in the next video. Bye bye! Thank you.